everybody. Welcome to the Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Peterson, and I am so grateful and excited that you're here. We are going to start a 6-week training series that I'm going to call The Journey to Legacy Wealth. And I'm super excited to kind of take you through this little series and give you some inspiration, some encouragement, and some, just some overall knowledge of this multifamily game and real estate and how it's played and how it works, and just all the ins and outs with it. Before we get to that, though, first of all, I want to give a big shout out to, we've been having a lot of people go out on iTunes and give us wonderful 5-star reviews. And this next two first one's from Robert to Peterson, and he puts, clear and precise. I love this podcast. Corey was able to deliver and explain clearly all I need to know about single family versus multifamily investing. Hey, Robert, thanks a lot for taking the time to give me that 5-star review. And then another one comes from Lottie Davis. It says, great deal. If you are looking for strategies to maximize your cash flow and capitalize on favorable market trends, this podcast is best for you. I've been listening to most of the episodes, and it's truly great and inspiring. So Lottie, thank you so much. Hey, listen, I love it when you guys take the time to go out to iTunes and leave reviews. It does mean a lot to me. It helps us get our show rankings. And really, the goal is, listen, if this podcast inspires you, helps shape you, gives you some information, I'm just going to challenge you to go out there and share it to others. Let other people know about it, because that is the only way we get the word out. And honestly, you guys have been such loyal listeners, and I just really want to thank you for inspiring me to have great content and great shows. I'm excited about today. It really is the journey to legacy wealth. And today I really want to talk about a couple things, and it's really about getting clear on, what you have, your vision, and really the ability to push past fear. Because when we all start a journey or something new, there's a lot of things that go on. And I really just want to make sure that and I want to focus on kind of, I guess why, right? When I started my company, Kahuna Investments, man, I wanted the two things that most people would never have, which is time and money. And I wanted them both. I wanted them both equally, or if not, I want them both in abundance as well. And, when I first started, I had to kind of personally look and say, what do I have? What do I need? And how do I get there? And I kind of, I needed a clear understanding of what it takes. And so the questions I guess I want to kind of unpack and unfold is understanding time and money. What is it about those two things that what is powerful about it, right? And how do we leverage it in our lives? And then also, how do we create time? And can we create it? Can we create time? Because I believe that with most everything, you've got to believe in it. You've got to believe in it to achieve it, because it doesn't happen overnight. But you've got to believe first, and that's the first step. And really, is to make sure that you're not a victim of what I call stinking thinking, because it's our minds. See, most of our money is not made in our day-to-day what we do. It's made, I think, sometimes when you go to sleep, when you first wake up in the morning, it's made in our minds, guys. It's that one thing that will set you free is when you truly believe that you can go somewheres, right? And that you start formulating the vision, right? Because in real estate, and really it's in life, it's the little things that matter. It's the little things that can make a difference and change the pendulum for you on your journey. And so, simply put, you've got to start asking yourself better questions, right? Better questions about life and what you want to achieve. So let's talk about, like, when you really, things in life tend to compound, or they, the exponential curve of life and of money, right? I mean, think about it. A lot of times when we start new systems or procedures or business trends, what happens is we end up putting a lot of work and, for days and months. And it doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere, right? It doesn't feel like you're barely in, escape velocity. There's nothing that's changing. And I guess the biggest story I can talk to kind of illustrate this is like the bamboo tree. The bamboo tree, it takes a long time for it to set and get firm in its foundation. And when it finally does, it just shoots right up. And that's a lot of, like, if you think about an exponential curve, things, it's really slow. It gets a little bit better. And then as things start to multiply and double, it quickly has escape velocity. But it takes a long time to get there. And really, I think that can be illustrated a couple ways, but we'll also let's use this other analogy so you guys can understand the power of velocity and, compounding effort, right? Because if you take just a couple days away from that compounding effect, right, or an exponential curve, it can be detrimental. And the best way to illustrate this is, right, if you could get a penny a day and you doubled it every day for 30 days, like, what would you have? What would you get? Like, so day 1 is a penny, day 2 is 2 pennies, day 3 is 4 pennies, day 4 is 8 pennies, right? If we continued that for 30 days, right? At the end of 30 days, you'd have $5.3 million, a little over $5.3 million. Like, that's huge, right? That's that compounding effect. And see, that effect, that law is what I want to call it, is really at force whether you're trying to invest and make money, if you're trying to invest in your business and make systems and processes, because a lot of times you set all these things up and you don't see immediate results. But what you see, a year down the road could be, is what happens. And so this real estate journey in multifamily is a journey. It is not get rich overnight. But I'm telling you, as sure as hell as I'm sitting right here giving you this podcast and you're listening, I'm telling you right now that it happens. And it will happen, and it can happen to you. But you got to believe, right? You've got to start formulating belief. And you got to tell yourself daily. Okay, we talk about this a lot in my podcast about telling yourself daily. I'll never stop saying it because I think that is important. So not only is your work and your money, if you look at your money, that compounding effect of money, like what we're trying to do in this business. And really, if you're looking at, how do you accelerate your wealth, right? Think about this. Let's take that same penny a day concept, and then let's put a curve in it too, because like there's something in our daily lives called taxes. Okay, what if you got that penny a day was taxed, right, at a 35% capital gains tax, right? So if you took that same amount, the same idea of a penny a day, and then you're going to double it every day, right? And you took into account taxes. After day 30, instead of having that 5.3 mil, right, you'd only have $20,000. Now that sucks, That really sucks. So understanding how the system works, how the game is played, is more important than anything, because I see a lot of people that got into real estate thinking they were going to make, real big profits, but they forgot that, when they're doing fix and flip and wholesale, guys, wake up. You are in ordinary income. You are operating as a trader. If you're working a job and the more money you make, if you're self-employed, the more money you make, the more the government seems to take. And if you don't believe me, we're in an election year. And it's crazy that they want to keep, taxing people that make money even more. And it's it's like robbing you from the hood, Robin Hood, robbing you from the hood. Why? The redistribution of wealth? I just don't understand it, right? So in today's game, in the world that we're living in right now, it's very important that you have a clear understanding that leverage is everything, right? You want to be able to leverage your money. You want to be able to leverage your time, leverage your relationships, really people, leverage processes. Leverage everything that you can, because I think more importantly now, more than ever, is that is needed. For me, the reason I love real estate, and more importantly, what I love about multifamily passive income, is that it gives me the money, but more importantly, it really gives me my time. See, I used to think that money was super important, but as I've gotten older and wiser, what I really realized that more important than money is time. I look around every day, and I look at it now, and I see people that just are miserable because they have no time. They may be making money, but they do not have any life or joy or just oomph about them, because they're stuck each and every day in this bottomless pit. And it's sad, and it's disgusting, honestly, and it pisses me off, because that's not the life that we were created to have. I truly believe this. I truly believe that God made us special, made you special, that you have great gifts. And if you would just understand that all you had to do is put your mind to this task, that the doors would open up. And hey, am I saying it could happen overnight? No. But I know if you were persistent in the pursuit and diligent in your process, man, it will become clearer and clearer, and about what is important and how you can achieve it. But I'm going to tell you right now that our biggest asset is not money, it's time. True CEOs, people that make lots of money, they understand the value of this. It's their biggest commodity is time, right? So really, to make sure you have a clear understanding without understanding time and money, the truth is both will master you. You've got to be able to master it, and that takes a little time. You must learn to manage and protect the most valuable asset, guys, which is your time, right? It really is. What is your most valuable asset? I'm telling you, listen, it's time. Don't fool yourself, right? And we use leverage to get it, right? And so my question to you is, what are some of the ways that you're using leverage in your life? And the question is it enough, right? And you make sure that you're not stepping over dollar bills to pick up nickels, right? You just got to make sure that you understand this. And, I love to talk about, Albert Einstein said compounding interest is like one of the most powerful things in the planet. And he talked about the rule of 72, right? So the rule of 72 says if you'll take whatever interest rate you can make and you divide it by 72, it's going to take you how many years it's going to take for your money to double, right? And so if you were to start with $200,000, let's say you got a return of 3%, it would take you 24 years to really kind of double your money, right? If you started with 5%, it's 14.4. If it's 8%, it takes 9 years. If it's 15%, right? It's 4.8 years. And what if you did that so then you always got to ask yourself this too, is how many doubling years do I have left, right? Meaning, hey man, if I'm in this game and I'm in my 30s or 40s, like how many years? And so let's use a year, let's use 20 years. Hey, listen, I'm starting this thing, and what does it look like 20 years from now? And if you started with let's say you started investing in your 30s and you had $200,000, what does it end up to? Right? If you're only getting 3%, in 20 years, you'd have $364,000. That sucks. If it was 5%, $542. 8%, right? $200,000 and you did nothing else, but you just kept it in there for 20 years, $1.2 million. Well, that's not bad. Look, if you got 15%, that $200,000 after 20 years would be worth $3.9 million. And then really, if you're a real estate investor, you're going to learn how to buy and operate and, do commercial real estate. And let's what if you can make 20%, right? By the way, your doubling period is 3.6 years at 20% rate of return. And if you put that $200,000 and marinated it and got that 20% for 20 years in a row, you'd have $10.56 million. That's what I'm talking about. See, your return on investment matters more than you think. Those percentage points that you get on your money, what you do with your money, is more important now than ever. And you've got to make sure that you're setting the game right so you can make big income. So most people, when they're starting out in this real estate game, they don't start out with understanding the rules and what they have. And honestly, they need some financial education. And so my question is this. Do you have a personal financial statement? Do you even know what a personal financial statement is? Right? Your PFS is what we call it in the business, is your personal financial statement. And it's going to list all the things you own versus all your debt. And it actually is used to determine your net worth. And my question is, do you know what your net worth is? See, multimillionaires, people that have money, they know. I know my net worth, right? I know what it is. I have to submit it pretty regularly to banks to qualify to buy property. I look at it, I watch it, I gauge it, I monitor it. I am looking to grow my net worth. That's the game that I play no more. I no longer judge the game by income. I'm only judging my personal game that I'm playing right now. And I'm playing Monopoly, and I'm playing only with the red stuff, okay? The red houses, or the red hotels. That's all I'm doing now. I didn't start there. I started with the green stuff, right? The greenhouses. But once I realized the difference between the greenhouses and the red houses and the rents that you can make and the profits you can make, listen, everybody wants the red, right? Everybody wants hotels. Or in our business, we call those apartments. And so you may not have great personal financial statement now, but that's okay. But you got to know what you do have. And see, most people don't even know where they're at. They are running around like a damn hot mess, and they've never taken the time to figure their crap out. And I'm just going to tell you right now, go Google personal financial statement and figure out where you're at. Find out what your net worth is. And for a lot of you listening, it's going to be red. It's going to be negative. And I'm telling you right now, that should scare the living shit out of you. I'm telling you, because time is not on your side. It's not. We don't even know how much time we got. So you got to start making decisions today on what you are going to do. How are you going to get through and make it? You better start planning today, because tomorrow may not be there for you. And what if you got kids, friends, families, loved ones that depend on you? What are you doing then? I'm telling you, this is why this passion of real estate of mine burned in my heart, burned in my brain, because I had enough. I'd had enough of just making it. I wanted more, and I wanted wealth, and I wanted time and money. And I had to get myself focused on that goal. Because if you're not, it's going to leave you behind. The world will leave you behind, and it will not care. And that's the fact. You can take that to the bank. There's only two things certain in this world: death and taxes. And gosh darn it, I'm telling you. So your personal financial statement, you need to have one. If you don't know where you're at, I'm telling you right now, go to Google and find out and prepare your own personal financial statement. You'll thank me that you did. Now, the other thing is we got to start understanding a little bit about how business works. Because you've got to, personal financial statement is actually only one part of the equation. That just shows you where you're at in time. There's another thing called your income statement. See, Robert Kiyosaki, he talked about all these things in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And see, Robert was talking the financial rich game. And a lot of us, we heard it, except we then went to fix and flip or wholesale. And that's not playing the rich game. That's playing the poor game. That is poor dad, believe it or not. That's poor. Quick profits. That's poor dad thinking. Rich dad thinking was, how do I create legacy wealth? And so the personal financial statement is only one piece of the puzzle. You also need to have what's called an income statement. You need to know how much money you're coming in and leaving, and where is it leaving to? Where is it going? Where is your money going? Do you know where your money's going? I'm telling you, most of you don't. Most of you have no freaking clue where your money's going. Most wealthy people know where their money's going, right? I'm just telling you that you've got to understand your finances. And the last thing that you need is your balance sheet. Your balance sheet. Your balance sheet will tell you where all your stuff's parked, right? What you owe, what you don't owe, what's your assets, all that stuff, right? Your balance sheet is an important part of your business, right? It's your health, where you're at, where are you standing right now. Your financial statement is telling you what your net worth is. Your income statement tells you where your money's moving. And see, the truth is, you got to understand these things to be able to understand where you're at. Most people just don't know where they're at. And you do. You need to start taking the steps to understand it, right? The next step of that is to really, once you understand where you are, see, once you know, like if you can look at the map and say, I'm right here, here's where I got. Here's my income, here's my money, here's my balance sheet, I know where I'm at. See, then you can start plotting a trajectory and making moves to plot your escape. But the first problem is with most people is they have no idea where they're at. And, if you don't know where you're at, anywhere you're going is going to take you there, right? I mean, to a place called nowhere. It's only when you can plot yourself and find yourself and say, here's where I truly am. And then you got to know where you want to go. And that's the other biggest problem in our business is most people do not have a clear understanding of, their vision. Like, what do they want their life to look like? And see, I didn't in the beginning. I'm telling you, like, I wish I would know now what I didn't know then, which was understanding that I should have vision first. In other words, and what I mean by that is my wife and I, we had a really good friend of mine, his name's Sean McCloskey, take us through mapping out our personal vision for our life, for our business. Like, what we did was we first burned it all to the ground. Everything that we did, we're currently doing, we just said in our mind, let's burn it to the ground. And if you could build it, what would it look like? And what I'm meaning by that is, what is your time? What does your vacations look like? Not even worried about the how yet, just putting everything out there that you'd want to do and achieve and matter. And that's the first step, is just to get it all on paper and not limit yourself, not even in the slightest, and get it, and not just money, your life, your family life, your church life, all the aspects of who you are, and mapping it all out. How much time do you want to spend in church? What does your business look like? What does your personal life look like? What does your relationship with your spouse look like? How many times do you date? When do you go on? How many times do you go on vacation? How many hours of the day do you work? When do you take off? See, it starts getting really granular when you start putting those things. And what I've learned is this: before you do anything with business, you put your life out and you put it first. And I used to not do this, but I'm a huge proponent of it now more than anything, is that you've got to do that. You've got to put your life and your time and your kids and everything that matters, put it first. And once you do that, right, then you can actually put your business on top of that. And what I say is, your business has to fit in the cracks, right? It just does. So one of the other things is to separate your time cost versus, the ongoing costs. And then more importantly is, when you look at all those things, you get them all down, and then you got to say, well, what parts do you really want? And how bad do you want it? Because if you want that bad, then you've got a decision. It's to live it. It's to start living. And I'll share a really, story that happened in me going through this process. I'm a workaholic. Okay, I'm gonna go out there and just tell you that I love working. But my wife looks at it and she's like, Corey, sometimes you've been working. This is about 2 years ago. Working hard, super hard worker. I've always been a hard worker. I enjoy the work, but also it comes with a lot of stress. And I was getting to the point where my health was starting to not look good. I was overweight. I was drinking a lot. And quite frankly, I was probably a crappy husband to my wife. And yet my wife is still my champion. She loves me. But we go to this event and she's like, Corey, they're asking me about what's going on in my life. And I'm like, well, I want to do this. I want to start another business. And all the people that are looking at me like, okay, Corey, you want to start another business. And my wife is like, see, this is what I'm talking about, guys. She's talking to the room. And she starts to cry. She goes, I get so worried about Corey because I think he's going to have a heart attack. And my wonderful wife is starting to sob, and it's in front of all my peers. Now, I don't know about you, but I love my wife. And for me to know that I'm hurting my wife like that and she's so worried about me was a wake-up call. And I looked around the room and everybody's looking at me and I can feel it. I can feel it, man. And then I get flooded with emotion. And I start bawling. Because I didn't want to hurt my wife. And I started thinking about what she was really saying there. And really, the leader of the group looked at me and said, listen, Corey, your wife loves you. She would never want to tell you these things because she understands who you are. But look at what you're doing. And that was a hard reality to say, man, I'm screwing up. See, even I talk about this all the time, but yet I'm a victim of it, right? And I guess because I'm a victim of it to myself, I can talk about it. And I can talk from a reference of I know what it feels like to let people down and to give work so much attention that your family suffers. I know this feeling, guys. And I did it a while when, if you read my book, Copy Your Way to Success, I did it with my son. And here I was on the verge of maybe doing it again to my wife. And just, it is a pattern. And at that moment, that's when I truly decided to do something different. And I got to the point where, listen, they're like, Corey, do you need any more money? This is what they're asking me, my peers. And they're looking at me, and their eyes are cutting right through me. They see right through me. And I'm already a hot mess. I don't want to hurt my wife. And I'm like, no. But what they were really trying to do was unpack, why does Corey keep going so hard? What is it that is making you feel like you've got to do this? And I didn't know where it was from, but what it came down to it is this. This is what we unpacked, was that Corey was a workaholic and grew up poor. And that I never wanted to feel that way again or ever. I was always thought I'm one deal away from losing it all. It could easily be taken away from me, and I'm not going to go back there. And I got a lot of people depending on me. And so that is what it was driving me. And the whole group is looking at me. And they're like, Corey, don't you realize you've already won? And, when they first said it, and they said it in such a way that, like, Corey, listen, you've built something that most of us wish we had. And yet you're still going. What the hell is wrong with you? You've already won. And so here I am, 44 years old, and I'm screaming in the front of the room at the top of my lungs, I've already won. I've already won. And they made me say it. They made me yell it. And I'm telling you, what a crazy experience for me. But I'm telling you, that is when I decided that I needed to go and live those parts of my life, right? Because that's what it is, right? And then you have the fear, right? The fear is where, man, what if it gets taken away? And I had to just say, you know what, forget it. What's more important? The more important part is I make I bring back some stabilization in my family, and that I set some boundaries for myself. So I immediately went home and I put boundaries. And what I did was I time blocked. I just said, here's the hours that I'm going to work. Here's the hours that I'm not going to work. I'm taking Fridays off. I don't start work till 9. I get off work at 4, and I time block those areas. I'm taking a full hour for lunch. And I put those on my calendar so nobody could schedule me for my time. And my team respected it. And then I followed through, and I just said, listen, I don't work these times. And if someone would try to schedule me on there, I'm like, dude, you got to move it. Because I ain't doing it. That is my time. And what I found is now I give that time to my wife. and my kids. Like when at 4:00 I'm done, so I've got to go out and I get to be available for the games and for all the things that goes on when the kids come home. And my kids are almost ready to leave the house. They're 15 and 16, like they're about gone. So I don't have a lot of time. But fear is real, guys. Fear is real. And a lot of you are going to fear the journey of real estate. But where fear and doubt are, let me tell you something, faith is not. Faith is what you got to have. You got to trust in yourself and trust in the process and do the work and be consistent with it. And you may not see results right away, but you got to believe that they're coming. And you've got to be doing the work that is required to get it. And so the thing is, you got to push through fear one step at a time, right? And I think one of the biggest ways to push, like when you're going on a real estate journey in multifamily and it's new for you, is that the first step is you got to understand is knowledge, right? I mean, like when I really first wanted to do multifamily real estate, the first thing I sought out was knowledge. Knowledge is important because knowledge breeds confidence. The more knowledgeable you are about a subject, the more confident you can be to like start seeing the vision and start believing, right? And your confidence starts to compound, right? We're leveraging that, right? And confidence is the precursor to action. See, when you get confident enough, you finally can say, I'm ready to go. Put me in, right? So, why are you listening to this podcast right now? Okay. I mean, I always ask that, like, why are you here? Why are you listening to some guy rant about vision and all these things, right? Do you even care about real estate, right? Or is it money? Or is it time? Like, so what is your why? There's a good, one of the programs that I bought, knowledge that I bought a long time ago was from Joe Stumpf. And he talked about his 5, 6, and 7. And what it was, he was a realtor, but he's teaching how to like get listings for realtors. But it doesn't matter what it is because it's the same. It's very NLP kind of stuff. Is people don't do things because of what they normally say. Like you say, hey, listen, why are you in real estate? I said, because I want to live a life. I want to go a great lifestyle, right? Nope, that's not it. He goes, well, what is it about a lifestyle that you want? And about the lifestyle is because I want to have freedom. Okay, well, yeah, that's great, but what is it about freedom that's important to you? You're like, okay, well, what's important about freedom for me is that I can have the choices to live my life. So, okay, well, what is it about the choices? And you're like, man, because the truth is, I didn't have a whole lot of choices when I was a kid. And I really just didn't want to be the kid at McDonald's where I had to go, never be able to order. And I had to go sit down with my brothers and sisters where our parents ordered it, a burger, and we had to split our small fries. Oh, yeah. See, that's the 5, 6, 7. See, the real reason is not the first 2 or 3 things that you say, that you think why you're here. You've got to peel the layers of the onion. And on that 5th, 6th, or 7th attempt is where the truth lies, my friend. That is where you're truly being honest with yourself. And see, I wanted to get in real estate because I wanted to live a life and no other. But the truth is that I didn't want to be poor. I wanted to prove something to my parents that I could do it. I always had a vision, a dream. I always felt like I was never going to do it. And I always wanted to. I wanted to believe myself. I wanted to give myself the courage and the passion and everything that it takes to be successful. And I wanted to prove to myself that I had worth because I didn't feel that worthy. And I wanted people to believe in me. See, when you're honest, it's powerful. I want to just encourage you to be powerful too. Right? So it really is about that, you know. Every one of us is living a vision right now, right? But whose vision are you living right now, right? You know, what is freedom for you? Define what is freedom for you, right? See, I think the purpose of when we look at money and building a business and what do we want money to do, I think the purpose of our investment is to fund your vision, right? So what is your vision, right? And I want to encourage you right now to define where you are, right? Number one, get your personal financial statement. Define, here is where I'm at today. And then I want you to write your vision. Where do you want to go? What does it look like? And then create a plan to achieve it. And then define the obstacles, right? Figure out all the things that can get in the way. And then I want you to crush them. Crush them, right? Because that's what it takes. So the rules for creating a clear vision is this, right? Write as fast as you can, no dollar signs, remove all the filters, act like a kid again. See, dream big. Go back to when you were a kid. See, when kids understand this. Define all the obstacles, crush them, right? And start getting excited. Because in our next part of our series, we're gonna start cranking it up. Today was all about the head, man. Today is all about understanding where you're at and where you want to go. And, you know, you still don't even know all the roadblocks that are going to come. I know some. I know where some of them are at because I have experience. And my goal is to help unlock them for you so you can see them and then you can get a better roadmap. Because I didn't have that luxury. I had to make all the mistakes because I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a podcast that I could listen to and get fed. Remember that, you know, time and money is always at work. The truth is that we're in control of it. And leverage is your friend. Leverage your relationships, leverage your time, leverage your money, right? Your return on investment is more important than you think, right? From 3% return versus a 12% to 15% return is massive in the difference. And it's massive when you apply it to business or money. Your personal financial statement is key to understanding where you are, right? But your vision, see, your vision is the most important in my opinion. It is the most critical piece because it is going to tell you where you are going to go. It really is, right? Determine your why, create your vision, and make it be a part of you, right? Make it super important to you, right? And guys, with that, I just want to encourage you. I want to encourage you in this business, in this journey of this series. It all starts with your mind. The most powerful thing that you have is the thing that's the 6 inches in between those ears. It is your brain. It is a super computer. It can do anything that you want, anything that you can tell. It can do things that you don't even know you can do yet. But you got to give it the freedom to work. You have to engage it. And you got to start dreaming again. You got to start thinking about planning and scheming and operating and put it in motion. Because if it's like a muscle, if you don't use it, it's going to be weak. Start engaging it. Start putting it in a gear and get into the driver's seat and start driving this thing. Warm that engine up. Rev it up, baby. Rev it up. Because I'm telling you, this is just week 1. It's a 6-week journey, my friends. And I'm proud and I'm honored to take you through it, guys, because I'm telling you, at the end of this 6 weeks, I think you're going to be refreshed. You're going to be inspired. You're going to know where you need to go, guys. If you believe it, you can achieve it. And your paradise is possible.